Hello, we've got Challenger action, we've got tactical feeders versus city boys, everybody's favorite hobby. I'm Anthony Malum, I've got KingFsher as my gorgeous chair too. Let's get into picks and bans.
Yeah, get into picks and bans indeed, and already we've got some really interesting ones coming out. Two that I don't think we've seen all season long, Premier and
Yeah.
Challenger aside. Rama and Mercury, those have to be target bans.
There's no, I mean, the Rama is one thing, but the Mercury, there's no way that they're not taking that out of the hands of somebody. That's absurd to me to even see.
Yeah, and if there's one person I would definitely be looking to target ban on the side here of tactical feeders, it's EvinLeeKid. Haven't seen him in a while, but an insanely mechanically good ADC. So maybe the Rama ban should have been from the other team. And a Sylvanas top lock. These teams are bringing out some weird strategies today, but I'm all for it.
Yeah, I mess with it, and not to mention power. I mean, there's been so much talk about during the waiver period of the Powerball. It's so exciting to see him on a team.
It is excited to see what he's going to bring to that roster as well. I think the only thing, this is a very different team than we saw a few days ago. Do you
Agreed.
think those roster shakeups are going to help them or hurt them? Because being completely honest, they did not have the strongest showing when we saw them last.
Yeah, and it's always tough. I mean, not even just in esports, not even just in Smite, but in any kind of competitive setting. It could even be a two-man chess team. When you mix up rosters and you have to change around chemistry, things are not simple. They're never simple. So rebuilding that chemistry, working out game plans, sometimes is all you need. I think back to like when iRaffer was dropped from Energy, and the change that went there wasn't exactly positive because they still had some issues solo lane. But then I think of other times, like all the times we've seen Zapman pick up different teams. So there's good and bad. I think ultimately it just comes down to how everybody meshes.
Yeah, it definitely does. And I think the raw ability of some of these players definitely plays a difference. It is, I think, definitely more about the chemistry they'll develop and all that. But just knowing how good you are mechanically, I think, can really put your lane ahead early.
Mhm.
Speaking of lanes, it's a Heimdall Cupid matchup. That is two really high caliber ADCs going up in that duo lane.
Yeah, I find that to be it's kind of reminiscent. I mean, Cupid's been around a long time, but it's kind of reminiscent of like the old school Apollo versus Anhur lanes and kind of how those felt, going more basic attacks versus that heavy, slow hitting Hunter, especially back when Anhur's had the furthest autos. It's a very different experience, but I'm excited to see that the pacing in that lane in particular, because a lot of times Cupids can play more passive using that dash, but it's very hard to play passive against a Heimdaller.
Yeah, it really is, and a pick that can get so aggressive. I mean, the Gallarhorn alone just gets so much poke and good utility off. And speaking of utility, a Vulcan mid, I feel like this was really popular for about a set and a half. Then we haven't seen it in a while, but a really strong pick nevertheless.
Yeah, I think what we started to see happen was teams weren't getting quite the value from the ultimate in particular. I mean, we didn't see it used for objective steals. It was kind of being used for cleanup kills, which can be chalked up to a lot of different things. And that sort of started a snowball effect of seeing some other areas where he wasn't bringing value. And then he was also kind of easy to target out. So it kind of led to him falling off a little bit. But with that, these teams went through picks and bans so quick, they're ready to fight. So are we. We'll see you in the game.
Okay, I'm going off every chance I get. I don't really take a loss, well, I'll admit. That's why I'll make it to the top, yeah, I commit. And no, I'm never getting lost, I get after it. Investing in my own stock, cause it's faster than any crypto hits go, let me spend. Everything that you see is something I invent. And it's only a percent. I'm gonna take shots. If I miss all, forget it. I'll take a fat loss just to learn all that's in it. I'm taking snapshots, learning how to fall and get it. I'm getting back up, always stand tall, don't sweat it, I never back up, I don't miss a thing or regret it, I'm always learning, you could call me academic, I'm always working, never been apathetic, bad energy is like a poison, need some antiseptic.
City Boys, Tactical Feeders, abilities and slow versus the cute little Cupid. I'm Anthony Malum. He is KingFsher. Let's do it.
Yeah, let's get into this one indeed, and it should be a really strong matchup. These are two interesting teams, to say the least. One has a really different look from last week. Tactical Feeders obviously trying to turn this one around. I think they have a draft to do it. I mean, I know we talked a lot about a lack of aggression early. Kind of same story as a couple Premier games we've seen. One team gets off to an early lead and can really snowball. Tactical Feeders looks like that's the path they're going for, and they got a great team comp to do it with.
Yeah, just like you said, in those Premier games, the map control has been the deciding factor 99.9% of the time. There's been very few games where the team that's controlled the map the entire time hasn't won. The only time it changes is if a disaster team fight happens after 35 minutes, which most of the time we're not even getting there.
Yeah, definitely not. And some of these games can go quick, and I think definitely in Premier we see a lot of those really quick games. Compared to Challenger, I think they're a lot more well fought at times. The pacing is a little bit more consistent. Yeah. So I'm excited to see if City Boys are able to kind of exert their will on this game, because they have a much weaker early game for sure. So definitely want to translate that into hopefully a little bit of pressure, able to carry them through the mid game.
Patroclez taking a good bit of damage there in solo lane, and Dash is hanging out just in case a mistake is made, but there will be no such mistake. Duo lane doing duo lane things and boxing it out. But yeah, and another thing too, with the difference in Challenger to Premier games and the difference in feel, I think a lot of that comes up to Challenger having much more traditional comps than Premier, so the games kind of play out in a more easy to predict way due to that fact. But that being said though, before I let you jump in on that thought, OLK was getting kind of crazy on that Ganesh, doing not so passive things on a Ganesh, but no follow-up to speak of quite yet.
Yeah, and I always like to see Ganesh get aggressive really early. Always think about that's one of the Premier Guardians that kind of comes online late game, but definitely nice to see early game aggression and a little bit of an odd build path. Went the Cursed Onk against Terra Cupid, definitely smart. But I think getting a lot of utilization out of that relic is something we don't see enough, and it's going to be one thing I'm probably harping on throughout this game.
Yeah, we're getting to see a lot of unique relics too, considering recent changes in ban lists, but OLK might have gotten poked out enough to create a bait situation for Dash here in the Tsukuyomi. Tactical Feeders is heading over to the camp, and they do not see the Tsukuyomi yet, but he is just level 2. They are level 3, so a bit of a dangerous gank. It looks like Dash is going to think better of it. Probably a good call there.
Yeah, definitely a good one. Can't afford to be too aggressive early on. And we do see this lane is a lot more even than I thought it would be. I mean, Cupid has such good wave pressure, especially with a lot more CC than the other two. Is now OLK gonna get stunned out by that CC. Good job on City Boys, keeping this duo lane early really quick.
Yeah, and that's going to be the key, I think, in this lane, is for one of these ADCs to take control of the feel, because that's going to set up their jungler better, and ultimately, whichever ADC falls behind, sometimes I'm a big ADCs rule the game, sometimes I go more the way of jungle. So far this game, I'm getting a feeling this is going to be an ADC-centric experience.
Yeah, it definitely should be, and both those ADCs, I mean, some of the easiest to play around, you get somebody out as Heimdall, and they are, if they're not dead just on the ult alone, your team can collapse so easily. Both those ults have a ton of mayhem, And the solo battle is something we haven't touched on yet, but it should be really interesting. Optic loves to go these kind of off-meta picks. We see a lot of Kabrakan, Fenrir solos. Now we're seeing the Sylvanas, another, as I understand, a pretty mainstay of his, so it'll be interesting to see what he does with it. Is POWAAAAHHHH looking to do something on left?
There's the blink from Power onto OLK, falling down quickly, but the dash is good. Gonna get away with very minimal HP. An unsuccessful gank from Power, though, and that makes 2 unsuccessful ganks from the junglers, respectively, on both sides. Tough time to gank the duo lane this game.
Yeah, very tough, and I think Dashy there doing a smart job staying back as the execute.
It's good for a solo. Patroclez takes out the Optic Blaster, piloting a Sylvanas. And is that going to be a 2 for solo? Slim looking for the kill onto Red Wings, but not quite enough damage. Red Wings gets to walk away safely.
Yeah, I like seeing the aggression there. Out of Slim, not able to land the kill, but speaking about landing the kill, Patroclez gets first blood, and you like to see him doing good again. One of the shining moments in their loss last week, did really strong on the Guan Yu in particular, I think. It's nice seeing him on an aggressive pick like that Achilles, hoping to kind of continue that positive train, as now Tactical Feeders, they're still behind in gold despite getting that first blood bounty.
You know, I think it's actually our co-caster Cosmic who's talked quite a bit about how Achilles is sort of becoming somehow an underrated pick, even though the character is so strong. And we're starting to see this character, especially in our leagues, really pick up in value.
Yeah, and I think it kind of strikes me as one of those characters that it's like the Agni. You know, they're always good in pretty much every meta, but there's just gods that do stuff better. But when you're looking at the execute and just a lot of aggression early on into the Sylvanas, who building the Mannequin Scepter is a lot to deal with, I think it's a great pick for what's at stake. I mean, top locking that Sylvanas, whenever you're playing against Optic, you know it's not going to be a support. It's a smart job by them counter picking somebody that can really get the job done over there. And I think late game, it's going to be a big benefit having that Achilles over the Sylvanas.
It's also always very Megamind to go any kind of execute against characters that, regardless of role, rely on heavy health build paths.
Yeah, definitely. And, I mean, by running double Guardians, I think definitely leaning towards that. And also, the Warlock staff build in mid, we've seen a lot of double stacking with Book of Thoth versus Warlock staff, and I know it's kind of debated on which one is better build path, but by going this Slim the Rebel, maybe just trying to give himself a little bit more of a cushion against that Achilles. It doesn't give much health, but 2 HP can make the difference between life or death, especially with that execute on the field.
Yeah, I remember back in my day that the ADC builds were the most expensive, but mages are starting to get insane between the double stacking, enjoying a Staff of Mirrodin despite not being my favorite item at the moment, Spear of Desolation. The builds are pricey. Oh, even more pricey though. A blink from Dash, potentially leading to a death. Good for now, but that was a dangerous move into 3 members, but getting away safely, at least showing that he's willing to make some plays in the mid lane.
Yeah, definitely an aggressive choice using the blink in there, but with being under a level, I think definitely the smart choice to kind of pull out of that one. Sometimes you'll see Tsukiyomis start to channel the ult as Pow is gonna not get the ult off. Remarkable lands it.
Remarkable lands it, Fields of Love comes out, Purification Beads used, and Remarkable gets to survive 2 ultimates and 3 people in the duo lane. Nice plays there by the City Boys ADC. Probably will lose that purple buff, but considering, or maybe not, might be able to steal it away. OLK's here, they will lose the purple buff ultimately, but great job surviving by RemarkableWolf.
Yeah, good discipline too, not using the beads too early on that initial invade, having the wherewithal to get the Lancelot out of there. Unfortunately now, for a long time, that Heimdall's going to be pretty gankable. Oh, as Patro gets a second solo kill. Wow, the Achilles off to a really early lead.
So load again is the Optic Blaster. Tough time going against an Achilles. Executes are just no fair in those 1v1s. They hurt everybody's feelings involved.
Yeah, they really do, and good on Patro for landing him. Those Achilles executes can be, like, really kind of sneaky hard to land sometimes. Maybe I just can't aim, or I could be wrong. Definitely good landing both. We've seen a lot of Achilles whiffs over time, and luckily for Tactical Feeders, not going to see any yet. But back to RemarkableWolf, I think gonna be really gankable within these next few minutes. The Heimdall teleport obviously gets cancelled out by CC, and with a Cupid and a Lancelot, they have a lot of it. So if I'm Tactical Feeders and POWAAAAHHH in specifics, I really want to get aggressive onto that duo lane again and try to kind of catapult Evan into a small lead here early.
Yeah, you talked about the mechanical skill of Evan piloting that Cupid today, and Cupid in the hands of somebody with mechanical skill like that, Cupid doesn't have a complicated kit. What makes Cupid dangerous is when the person playing Cupid can position themselves in an effective manner. With that being said, though, we do have some action peeking around over in the mid lane. Slim looking a bit in danger. Powa is running him down, but he is behind tower. Dash showed up just in time, was enough to potentially have saved Slim there, but now Optic is the one caught out. Gonna fall again. Earthshaker just to make sure. The Optic Blaster falls to Red Wings on the Vulcan, and City Boys just kind of have to walk away from this one, watching their solo laner die.
Yeah, good job and good collapse there from Tactical Feeders. And honestly, if all 3 deaths have to go into one player, as we're gonna see another death, it's gonna be RemarkableWolf falling.
Load! RemarkableWolf falls. Tough time. Dash, though, has to make sure he does not ult anybody, but ultimately will not matter. Patro gets the kill in solo. Evan got the kill in duo. Tactical Feeders controlling the entire map right now.
Yeah, doing a really good job of it too. I would have liked to see that kill in solo maybe be given over to Powa. Might have been able to sneak a 2-level lead in the jungle out of that, but instead Patroclez gets to level 11, 9.5 minutes in. That's a really good spot for your solo to be in. I mean, regardless of the god, but being that it's on such an aggressive pick, I'm looking for Patroclez to rotate out here a lot earlier than he normally would and able to really find some impact with that level lead. Ganesh steals away the Scorpion.
Nice, clean Ganesh steal. We'll have to see those. You know, that's one of the dangers of playing a character like Sylvanas or Geb, and occasionally even a Sobek. If you do fall behind in the soul lane on one of those Guardians, you feel even more behind because now you're doing essentially negative damage. You basically bandage them up every time you hit them with an ability. So it's very tough to play from behind in those characters.
Yeah, definitely can be. Heimdall getting really aggressive here. Down a level, but even in build, gonna get stunned out. And without that
punished.
ultimate, can't really do it. Powa coming in, can he find a kill?
RemarkableWolf may be punished for using that teleport to go in, and he is. Powa picks up the kill after a nice gank, protecting his dual lane from getting aggressed on.
Yeah, and I don't ever like getting too aggressive on Heimdall without that ultimate. It's not only a great engage tool, but being able to have that dash get away, could have just straight up sent Powa out of the arena. That Lancelot without beads. Unluckily, though, did use it earlier. Now Dash, yeah.
There it is. There executes good from Patro. Dash is going to fall. I thought for a second maybe Patro would go for the steal onto the Pyromancer, but instead one of the kills executes still up, gets a double kill on the Optic Blaster. Patro is going off on this Achilles.
Yeah, the double kill I think is worth letting the Pyro slide. Now up 3 levels in solo lane. That is a monumental lead, no matter which role, and we have seen Patro come out of solo a little bit, step onto the neutral objectives. If I'm Tactical Feeders, the Gold Fury's up, you have a lead in ADC, you have a lead pretty much everywhere, I think, except for support, actually. The Ganesh has about a half-level lead. But if I'm Tactical Feeders, I'm getting aggressive onto these neutral camps right about now. 12 minutes in, definitely enough time to go for him.
Yeah, I think you tend to be somebody that I definitely trust for the objective calls. You tend to be spot on most of the time, so if I'm listening on the casters today, I'm following the advice and not worrying about any kind of curse.
Oh, definitely. And I did learn a lot of that from Evan. I have teamed with him before, and he normally does have very good, very clear comms. Pretty smart about knowing what to go for at the right time. So maybe if they're not going for it, I would expect they're waiting for a pick. There's still a lot of steal potential. The Yu Huang ultimate does a really good amount of damage. Tsukiyomi can really get himself in there, and I think Dharmic Pillars are so scary to contend with on objectives, so maybe they want to separate out like Ganesh. OLK has not gone down yet, and maybe that's going to be the key for Tactical Feeders to start opening up this map.
Yeah, supports make or break your game. They are ultimately the backbone of your team. If they underperform, your team will underperform. If they play perfect, you'll never notice, but your team will probably win.
Yeah, and I think that being said, they're grouping up right now, and I think it would be smart to go for the Gold Fury here. City Boys are very spread out, and the Sylvanas does not have a tower teleport. Achilles does. That solo laner can be over there in an instant. I don't know what opening they're waiting for, but may have just missed one. Ganesh is still close by, though, so a little bit hard to call.
Optic pulls Patro under the tower, but Patro has gotten so tanky and so big on that Achilles, it does not matter. But yeah, I agree with you. That would have been a good time for tactical feeders to go in. They had very deep ward coverage as well, so they couldn't have been any more in the crystal clear. But with that, we are going to see a pause come out, so we'll be right back with more action on the Smite Draft League.
Taking shots at the enemy, I'm gonna make it to the top, leave a legacy. If I got something to say, you better let me speak. Turn it up a new degree, bitch, you ain't seen anything. I pop off with the new rock, electronic, blow the sonic roof up. I'm too honest when I take a few shots. They're too toxic, need to take a new song. And you cannot save me, 'cause I don't need saving. It's everything I've been chasing, all here for the taking. Don't wanna test your luck with me, I think I've had enough disease. I'm sick of all the bad thoughts, people who are half-nots. You are not as tough as I'm back, you know that I never left. I got tracks and some music that you never guessed. I don't slack, don't lose, learn your lesson yet. When I get to choose what I do, I'm like a weapon. I'm not sharp as many, but got hard. I'm ready to change scars to envy, to win large and plenty. I like to play fast, never change back. Calling out, I'll pay back, 'cause I'm great at that. Oh, you cannot save me, 'cause I don't need saving. It's everything I've been chasing, all here for the taking. Don't wanna test your luck with me, I think I've had enough disease. I'm sick of all the bad thoughts, people who are half-nots. You are not as tough though. Don't wanna test your luck with me, I think I've had enough disease. I'm sick of all the bad thoughts, people who are half-nots. You are not as tough as me. Don't wanna test your luck with me, I think I've had enough Investing in my lane fast, call it high speed. I've been working hard, yeah, I've been working nightly. If you think you'll win, ha, not fucking likely. I be taking shots, yeah, cold-blooded, icy. Watching numbers grow is what I call sightseeing. In the front row, run it up when they hype me. The following grows, they know how to ignite me. Call me CEO, I've been running shit right, see. And I ain't playing games, I create my own lane, making pleasure out of pain, turning losses into gains, I'm the boss, I'm making change, I've been rocking this exchange, popping off and risking things, gonna make a fucking name, I just wanna be famous, but I don't want that cheap fame, no I'm not that vain, I just wanna be greatness, I just wanna be greatness, I just wanna be greatness, I just wanna be greatness. Ain't no motherfucker in this world can do it like me. Open up your eyes and insert a little rising. You don't have to love me, you don't have to like me. Got enough love in myself, in my psyche. You should have the same in your brain nightly. If you wanna taste, bitch, you can fucking try me. If you wanna hate, bitch, you know where to find me. And if you go and hate this, you can fucking bite me. Okay, I'm going off every chance I get. I don't really take a loss, well, I'll admit. That's why I'll make it to the top, yeah, I commit. And no, I'm never getting lost, I get after it. Investing in my own stock, cause it's faster than any crypto hits go, let me spend. Everything that you see is something I invent. And it's only a percent, I'm gonna take shots. If I miss off, forget it, I'll take a fat loss just to learn all that's in it. I'm taking snapshots, learning how to fall and get it. I'm getting back up, always stand tall, don't sweat it. I never back up, I don't miss a thing or regret it. I'm always learning, you could call me academic. I'm always working, never been apathetic. Bad energy is like a poison, need some antiseptic. Ain't no motherfucker in this world can do it like me. Open up your eyes and insert a little rising. You don't have to love me, you don't have to like me. Got enough love in myself, in my psyche. You should have the same in your brain nightly. If you wanna taste, bitch, you can fucking try me. If you wanna hate, bitch, you know where to find me. And if you go and hate this, you can fucking fight me. Ain't no motherfucker in this world can do it like me. Open up your eyes and insert a little rising. You don't have to love me, you don't have to like me. Got enough love in myself, in my psyche. You should have the same in your brain nightly. If you wanna taste, bitch, you can fucking try me. If you wanna...
We're back from the pause after what felt like an eternity, but it might be a very short eternity for the Optic Blaster after this gank here in the solo lane, and he will fall. This time to POWAAAAHHHH. No solo to scream about this time, but Patro is doing numbers on that Achilles.
Yeah, indeed he is, and a lot of damage coming out, and a pretty decent build for it too. I really like the hybrid style he's gone for. The Runic and Glad Shield are both, I think, some pretty undervalued items. They hit
Especially
like,
Runic.
really sneaky hard. Yeah, I think definitely. I thought he was going to go for Ansile at first to really tone up the aggression, but I do like the Runic Shield pickup.
The Divine Ruin is really the only thing I'm not questioning, but I kind of wish would have been maybe one slot later. I would have liked going some more defense on the Sylvanas with how behind he is, just to kind of keep him alive more, so the Achilles can stop picking up kills.
Definitely. I also do like to see solos building more defensive. I'm pretty traditional as Dashi gonna step in and get Slim out of there. I think, like you said, it also just kind of feels unnecessary. They have Shadow Steel, Ankh, and Divine. Big Vulcanal off the mark, though. Dashi's fallen.
Nobody home, but Dashi might be alone in the grave. He is. RemarkableWolf sends Red Wings to his own death, and we've got quite the fight breaking out of 15 minutes. Evan, though, gets the return kill onto RemarkableWolf, and everybody's got to go their separate ways. This is not a fight you can really contest at 15 minutes with the spread out positioning. Looks like it could be a Gold Fury pull here from Tactical Feeders. Hearing your advice and hearing Evan's calls for the objective, there is some contest potential here from Optic and OLK. Potentially just enough to keep them away from it from now. I don't think they can really contest a fight, or they might end up dying.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I don't like this decision. I think Gold Fury would have been the best call, but if they are able to pick up a kill on Slim, it might be worth it, and they can.
Evan is on a killing spree thanks to the Fields of Love under that tier 1 tower. The execute finds a home on OLK. Optic is here with the ultimate onto Power, who's taking tons of damage. Sylvanas can still do some work at level 13, now 1-5, gets his first kill on that solo lane. Sylvanas and City Boys clawing their way back into this game.
Yeah, they are, and I think I already said it. I don't love the decision from Tactical Feeders, but they do pick up Yu Huang and the Ganesh as well, so 2 kills for 1 is pretty good, but unable to take that mid tower. Finally are going to get the Gold Fury, so I think all's well that ends well. That mid tower, though, still stands even after that dive.
RemarkableWolf going to make an attempt to steal this Gold Fury. He's lagging behind. There's the ability, not quite in time though, and it will cost Wolf his life. Evan picks up the kill, make it 4 for that Cupid, bringing him to level 16. We've got a race for level 20 between the Achilles and the Cupid.
Yeah, and I do like RemarkableWolf stepping up trying to steal that one. I am not sure he needed to go all the way around into their line of sight, but regardless, was insanely close on that steal attempt. I thought he got it for a second. Now we kind of see the flip side. We saw OLK kind of dissuading Tactical Feeders. Now with Patro on this side, I don't think they can afford to even try for an objective. They just get bullied out of it.
You know, credit where credit is due. The Optic Blaster is within 2 levels of Patro due to some good farming and has not died incredibly recently, so very good job getting back in the game. I know Fish and I talk a lot on this cast about how that is one of the biggest signs of a good player is if you're getting, you know, bullied and dominated, to be able to get back into the game in some way so that you can participate and try to make things easier for the rest of your team.
Yeah, definitely. Bouncing back after some setbacks, always a good thing to have, and now POWAAAAHHHH being looked at, but Dashi almost dead. Dashi is gonna fall. What a kill.
Earthshaker was not enough to find the kill onto OLK, not from lack of trying. But yeah, Dashi made a good attempt. The Tsukuyomi ultimate is such a difficult ability to utilize as an escape. It's very similar to Chernobog's ultimate in that sense. It's hard to make it work the way you want it to, but always a good attempt.
Yeah, it definitely is. And I think with the Dharmic Pillars out, I don't know if Dashi needed to ult there. Big Wolf from Remarkable, not gonna hit. Evan picks up the kill. And the Cupid with a 3-level lead. Wow.
Soloed and make it a rampage for Evan.
Ooh, I always forget. I delay the inevitable solo yell every time, but it is a solo kill for EvinLeeKid. 5 kills now and 5 deaths on the Heimdall, 3-level lead. It's a big one for Tactical Feeders. They get the Pyro as well. And 7,000 gold in the lead now at 20 minutes. This is starting to look like some of the games we've seen lately. Tactical Feeders in a really good position.
I like your gentle setups for my loud yells. It's what makes us work. But yeah, Tactical Feeders is in complete control of this game. You can see that in the charts, especially 10k experience, coming up on 7k and gold. It's a tough time to be a city boy right now. Might want to consider moving somewhere more rural.
Yeah, I hear the suburbs calling, but definitely not out of this game yet. And I think that's in a large part due to their team comp. I mean, when they hit level 20, Ganesh, one of the best Guardians in the game, Heimdall does crazy amounts of damage, Tsukuyomi, insanely hard to kill. They definitely have the comeback potential. The only thing I'm worried about, I don't think Tactical Feeders are going to let them get to level 20. They're stripping the jungle, they're playing aggressive. But looking at those towers, if I'm Tactical Feeders, I'm either going for a Fire Giant or the tier 2 towers within the next minute and a half at the most.
Yeah, that is something we see teams have a tough time with sometimes, is getting everybody on board and saying, all right, it's time to end the video game. We have places to be. So if you get a lead like that, a big key and a big sign of strong chemistry, good teamwork, and a impactful shot caller is being able to make those decisions like the Fire Giant at 20 minutes to go for an end. And they are heeding your call and pulling that Fire Giant at 20 minutes. But who's going to contest it? OLK and Optic are being held off well by Patro. OLK is doing one close, but has to turn his attention to Optic to try to help out. Fire Giant's at a quarter health, and nobody's responded yet. Dash getting poked out. Good damage on the power, though. Nishi went into the Fire Giant a little bit too far. Dash gets a kill on the power, but the execute is not going to find a home. The follow-up damage will. Nishi, though, with all the damage from the Fire Giant, almost fell to the Ganesh, but Evan was there for the protections and gets the kill onto the Ganesh. So 4 members will keep Fire Giant for now, and it's 4 impactful members at that. Everybody else pushed away from City Boys, minus the split push from RemarkableWolf.
And I absolutely love how they zoned off that fight. They know darn well they're not killing the Ganesh or the Sylvanas, just trying to zone him alone. I think really smart going up to Dashi there, keeping him away, keeping the Yu Huang away as well. They enabled themselves to win. They got that Fire Giant, able to just kind of run it down, pick up a few kills on the back end. No OLK went in too far and did pay the price. Another really big swing for Tactical Feeders. There's a tier 2 on right, and the tier 2 in mid is in trouble, but no members from the Chaos team in order to clean it up, so the tower will stand.
And I think what you did was impressive. You called that 20-minute Fire Giant as being the play. What I want to see also come true from your prediction is these towers. It looks like they might be grouping up to clear out the Oni Fury on the gold side of the map, and then maybe consider pushing those towers. What do you think the next play is here?
I mean, let's be frank, they don't need the Oni Fury, but if I'm them, I think it's a good call. And the last minion wave just spawned, so if I'm this Tactical Feeders team, I'm hitting a tower right now with the basic minions. If you're able to weaken a tier 2 or even a Phoenix on the right side, the Oni wave coming in after is going to help you really clean it up, so they can afford a little bit of a sloppy team fight if they push with this minion wave. That's exactly what they're doing in left lane. That tier 2 tower is going to fall like butter. And Heimdall might want to push up the Trebuchet kind of soon to get some contention, or maybe just letting it sit for now.
It looks like this tier 2 tower is going to fall the same way the Mosquito in my room just did, and it will. It goes down. It's up to RemarkableWolf to hold on to the Phoenix. Everybody's showing up a little bit slow. Tsukuyomi is deep in the jungle, just now backing by blue buff, and Tactical Feeders is going to use that advantage. RemarkableWolf does send away. Is that Patro? It was, and Evan had to back out due to low health too, so good defense so far with the help of that Trebuchet coming out. City Boys might look for a response push.
Yeah, they might, but the Oni wave's there. They really can't. They gotta stop and clear that wave. Tactical Feeders played that the right way. I don't love the engage. I think it was a little bit too rushed, but they did do exactly what they needed to. The presence of the Onis there means that City Boys have to go to mid now. Can't do any more aggression on that left side, so Tactical Feeders don't really hurt themselves with that play. No deaths also, so the Fire Giant is going to live on for their next push. Speaking of Fire Giant, it's coming up in 2 minutes. Do you think City Boys are going to be able to push out the minions and have a chance at contesting this one, or is this just going to kind of fall the way of Tactical Feeders?
I think it all is going to depend on the position they can get Evan in that Cupid in. If Evan can get 1 or 2 kills at the start of a team fight, maybe picking off one of these so far squishier tanks, mostly in the form of the Sylvanas, things could go drastically the way of Tactical Feeders and very quick. The Sylvanas is not the tankiest right now, and honestly, the Ganesh isn't either. I mean, a lot of mitigations there, but not as traditionally tanky as we're used to seeing, going that male renewal first, which we both like, but it does leave some protections on the table.
Yeah, it's definitely got trade-offs. I mean, it's nice for yourself, but at the same time, this team is burning them down so fast. I think, in particular, Cupid has Deathbringer online, so doing an insane amount even with that Spectral. That maybe doesn't benefit them as much as Gauntlet of Thebes does, but if I'm Tactical Feeders, I think the target kind of needs to be the Heimdall. He's the only one that's doing a huge amount of damage, and the ultimate in that last fight, sending Patro out, was a really, really smart play by RemarkableWolf. If he's able to do it again, City Boys can definitely stay in this game. So if I'm Tactical Feeders, Patro in particular, definitely diving onto him. But without beads, you gotta channel that ult the second you see Heimdall start to dash if you want to stay aggressive in that particular little micro fight.
I agree. Getting Patro out of that fight was probably the reason that Tactical Feeders couldn't make the most of the man advantage at the Phoenix. They lost so much front line from Patro, and Evan fell so quickly without that front line there to distract that they just couldn't continue the push. So we might see that become a theme here. But what I would worry about is putting too much emphasis on trying to zone out Patro and maybe blow up Evan, that you leave RemarkableWolf to open with that ultimate, leading to a quick death. And then, like you said, the lack of damage could spell the end for City Boys.
Yeah, and I think not only the lack of damage, but the lack of being able to deal with damage. This Sylvanas built very, very damage forward. He is going another physical pro here, so going to be a little bit tankier. But with the Ganesh, with that male renewal, RemarkableWolf, there it is! He falls.
Powa got the kill onto Heimdallr. Let's see how much of the prediction is true and how much is a curse. Big Earthshaker dash, and Slimmer is so low that they're on the run. Good pushback, though, from Slim. The Ankh comes out to try to maybe slow things down, but the pace is all the way in Tactical Feeder's wheelhouse right now. Slim gets stunned out. Might spell the end, but only Nishi is there. In the mid lane, though, the Optic Blaster is going to fall. Powa blows him up. After a long chase through the jungle, Slim might be soon to follow. Nishi on it. There it is. Slams the walls down. Goodbye, Slim. Goodbye, Mid Phoenix.
Yeah, and I think it probably should be the game. They have the sustain, but they're going to walk away. I mean, better safe than sorry. We do always say that, and they are going to be able to clean up the Fire Giant with absolutely no problems. But I mean, a Hera and a Cupid definitely have the sustain, with both Ganesh and Tsukiyomi missing their ults. Probably missed a chance to win there, but still going to grow their lead, jumping out to about 14 to 15,000 once they have this Fire Giant. This game is going to be over really soon.
The only thing I can think of is perhaps they were respecting the damage from RemarkableWolf and the spread of Tsukiyomi. Maybe that was just a little too much for the risk. And like you said, cleaning up this Fire Giant, there's basically only one way that this game can go, barring any type of collapse from Tactical Feeders. So this next group and push, honestly, I'm not worrying about the other Phoenixes. I'm Tactical Feeders. I am running through the jungle, cutting in to mid, maybe a little bit after that red buff, and just running it down the mid lane. I'm maybe sending Patro in from the side to try to cause some disruption, and I'm ending the game.
Yeah, but I think, like what you said, a collapse from Tactical Feeders, I don't think it's likely at all, but it definitely can happen.
Uh-oh.
If it does, it might be a collapse from RemarkableWolf caught lazy backing. Can Powa get the kill and possibly seal the game? No, he can't. The Heimdall gets out.
Heimdallr is paying so much benefit from having that escape. If he did not, he would have fallen and the game would have been guaranteed over. So at least for the time being, some slight signs of life from City Boys, but it's tough. You know, RemarkableWolf has been split pushing that duo lane for quite a while and trying to push out the lane, but that tier 2 tower is still up. So at this point, I almost think it's better to just group with your team and prepare for this onslaught in the mid lane.
Yeah, and I think the one thing they can do to prepare definitely hinges on Optic Blaster. I mean, I've already said how I'm not a fan of the build, but when you do look at it, he has Spectral, he has Breastplate of Valor, he has Blink too, needs to get aggressive onto the backline, and there it is. Powa is going to fall when he comes out of the ult. Indeed he does.
Wow, aggressive play there from Power. Was looking for a pick onto RemarkableWolf, but pretty much everybody was there. So now only 4 members, but they all have Fire Giant. And that Cupid, I suspect, might have some serious damage to output in this oncoming fight. Looking for the first move onto the Phoenix. It's my favorite time of any game. The Phoenix into the Titan push. Patro makes the first move, but Optic sidesteps with the blink. Evan puts the Fields of Loves out, and Optic Blaster's falling quickly. There's the pillars, there's the Earthshaker. Evan gets the kill onto RemarkableWolf. He's unstoppable. Blaster's got to back out. He's down to 1 HP, but Patro's kind of low too. Who's going to take advantage of it? Dashiwae tries to be the one, but not able to find a kill quite yet. Now OLK finds himself caught out. Evan has a double kill onto OLK. Has to fall back, though, down to about quarter health, but the remaining members of City Boys are not looking great for this defense.
Yeah, Dashiwae waited way too long there, backed from mid instead of just walking over and ulting. Might hurt him in the late game as Patro TP's back in full health, and the Cupid is gonna melt down the Titan. They need to find a pick early here to defend it. Half health, though, doesn't look likely. They're not even stepping out of base. The Titan will fall. Tactical Feeders take game 1.
Absolutely. Easy game, easy life that time. Rough game to be a City Boy. Like we said, maybe look at leasing out some stuff in a more country, suburban area. A lot of times the farmlands are very, very affordable. But yeah, tough game there. There's a lot to turn around. It's not the end of the world. We did see some good single player performances there that could be something to look forward to and maybe something to work around. But very, very strong game from Tactical Feeders.
Yeah, definitely. And I think when we look back at City Boys, there are a few things I kind of see that they did really well. Slim, I think, had a great game. Same with OLK. RemarkableWolf, the stats don't really show, I think, how impactful he was. The fights he was able to get off his ult, get off the damage. Just not kept alive long enough. But I think Dashi needs a little bit more of an aggressive pick. I think a few fights we saw him hang back when maybe should have been getting in there more, but definitely didn't do a bad job. And I think Optic has to pick something closer to the Achilles to find some impact. I don't think the Sylvanas was horrible. He definitely played it pretty well, but fell at the start, and you're not getting back a lead against an Achilles. It's just not happening.
I hope you had your handy dandy notebooks out because there will be a quiz on everything Fisher just said at the beginning of game number 2. But with that, we will leave you here in game number 1 and see you again in picks and bans here soon on the Smite Draft League. Looking for more kills than team members this time is the City Boys, and looking to run it back and run away with this set is Tactical Feeders. I'm Anthony Malum, he is KingFsher. Let's talk picks, let's talk bans.
Yeah, picks and bans, definitely one place I am looking to improve on if I'm City Boys. I don't think their draft was completely bad last time, but looking on the other side, Tactical Feeders had a really good one. They didn't quite respond to it. And another Rama ban, I'm guessing, I think you said it first, the last game, we said maybe it's the target ban, but Rama's consistently a really good hunter, a really hard hunter to deal with. So I think probably a smart one taking him out of there, whatever the reason is.
Yeah, Rama is kind of, I mean, I think I've said it maybe a million times. To go alongside with my disdain personally for X-Ball is my love of Rama and what he brings to team comps. I just think that's a character that come late game, especially when you find yourself on the back foot, he's very good at being able to stay back and deal unsuspected damage while also being very safe with the ultimate and the dash. So taking him off the board is always a good call. I wouldn't necessarily say first ban worthy. I mean, there's a chance it's a target ban like we've been saying, but it's I still would try to let it through, if not taking it myself, maybe for Evan, but it's a tough choice.
Yeah, and I do think a very smart ban coming out there from City Boys, taking away the Cupid, although banning out something like the Lancelot instead of the Achilles. I mean, make no doubt, POWAAAAHHHH had a really good game, but nearly all the engages we saw from the Lancelot were opened up by Patroclez on this Achilles. I mean, I completely understand the Lancelot ban. I think it's a good ban, but letting this slide, I think, is going to be another big problem. But picking up the Yu Huang, I do love that. I think Slim was very good on the Yu Huang.
There was definitely a time or two where it felt like when Pala initiated without the Achilles, he was kind of left out to dry and died fairly quickly. So like you said, I think the Achilles maybe should have been a prioritized ban, or maybe even forgoing that Neja ban and going with the Achilles ban. I've always felt like Neja is a character you can very easily deal with if you just adjust your strategy and you focus your comms on kind of taking away Neja's openings. But there is a lot of value in banning it, so I do get it.
Yeah, and I think you're completely right. You definitely have to focus more on the Neja, but maybe that's why they want to ban it. I'm not sure if POWAAAAHHHH, I would assume it's a Neja jungle they're banning out. And that is the thing. You do have to change up your team or your play style a little bit. And now some really early Guardian picks that I love. Yemoja going to be able to limit all three of those gods' movements with the River's Rebuke, and Khepri on the other side is going to allow POWAAAAHHH to be so much more aggressive than he already was last game.
Yeah, we didn't really talk about Nishi much last game, but Nishi had a very strong performance on that Terra. And I was just going to say, with the Khepri Achilles, you do take away one execute. And I was wondering if we'd see a ban for the other executes, but instead, it looks like we're going to have a Thanatos going for City Boys. So I'm excited because I always love a good Thanatos.
Yeah, and you know, I do like the Thanatos pick. I like the execute. The question is Dashi going to be able to pull it off? I think one of my big criticisms last game was I didn't think he got aggressive enough on the Tsukiyomi, but Thanatos, it's a pick you got to be aggressive with. Yeah. So I definitely do like seeing that come out, and I hope they're able to pilot it well. And one small change I don't think we've talked about with Yemoja, it's kind of an indirect effect. Obviously, Beads and Aegis can't be built together. So, I mean, ADCs are forced to go Shell. Phantom Shell is going to be a lot more common in these builds. Might be an unintended side effect against OLK here on this Yemoja.
Yes, and we do see the Heimdallr come out. We did mention that it kind of looked like there was a little bit of respect maybe put on the damage of Heimdallr last game, that or potentially just the ultimate of Heimdallr in and of itself minus the pilot was just enough to really discourage tactical feeders from going for the end initially. So taking that off the board, maybe adding some more confidence into Evan as a character maybe he doesn't want to play against, could open up a lot of opportunities for both Evan and RemarkableWolf.
Yeah, it definitely could, and I think RemarkableWolf is one thing they do have to address from last game. I think keeping him safer, which the Yemoja does a great job of. The few times we saw RemarkableWolf really be able to do what they wanted to, the results were really, really good. And I think finding that again is one good way to do it. And I love and I hate this Cthulhu pick if it's locked in. I think it should do a lot better into Achilles, a lot better than the Sylvanas. At the same time, there's no way Patro misses an execute on Cthulhu.
Yeah, it's going to be quite a tall task to not get executed on that Cthulhu, and the executes might end up being quite a bit of the name of the game. Really, I am curious. I would hate to be disrespectful to Yu Huang and to Thanatos and Cthulhu for that matter, but it does kind of feel like there's a strong lack of damage, at least concentrated damage out from City Boys. So this ADC pick needs to really be a strong ADC that can spread its damage and quickly.
Yeah, and it definitely should be, and taking away one ADC that does an absolute obscene amount of damage, it's going to be the Hou taken off the board. And I feel like Hou kind of, I mean, it's a god we talk about a lot, seeing the aggression out of solo lane, but I think it's a little bit underrated just how much you can do with a Hou.
Yeah, ironically, I think Hou would have been the perfect pick for City Boys. So taking that away could prove to be valuable. And we talked about the mechanics of Evan. You mentioned it in the picks and bans of game number 1, and we did see a lot of it on that Cupid. The positioning and the survivability for Evan were both fantastic to watch. Giving Evan a Hou could potentially be a tall task to overcome. The Charybdis might be even more, though, with that escape and adding the Maw to it. Honestly, either pick is perfect.
Yeah, it really is. And I love seeing this Raven picked up by POWAAAAHHH. Oh, and there's a Hoyi. In response, you love to see it from Remarkable. But I think seeing Powa on the Raven here, we already identified how Nishi could help out the aggression with the Khepri, and given just that pure invulnerability, the damage, it's gonna do nothing but help this jungler.
And with that, we're gonna leave you here, but we'll meet you right back at our big date in game number 2 on the Smite Draft League.
Slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 you got a mind, but even that could change. You could flip the gray matter like some batter in your brain. That's why I say, fake it till you make it A. And if you play that game, then you just might make a change. Rearrange all the bad to okay. Take the worst thoughts saying, turn them to a game. Take the best thoughts saying, put them on display. On repeat in your brain till you're feeling no more pain. Never slow yourself down, you can do some more. Push past all the pain and you'll find a door. Open it up and finally explore everything that you thought you could never do before. And even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 go.
Looking to take the narrative and flip it on its head is City Boys, and looking to take that mindset and flip it upside down is Tactical Feeders. I'm Anthony Malum. He's KingFsher. Let's do it. Hit that green buff.
Hitting the green buff indeed a little bit premature, but should be able to drop it anyway. Really close one there. Khepri got kind of low. and I love all the new starts we've been seeing, except for that one in mid. They start red buffs again. I think I've talked about my distaste for that before, but it does look like the new meta start, so I guess I really can't comment too much about it.
Yeah, it's, you hear a different opinion from whoever you ask, be it pro, streamer, community, friend, mother. Everybody has a different opinion on where to start with that, it feels like.
Oh yeah, my mom has some really, really good Smite opinions, I'm sure.
Yeah, I bet she's a
Haven't
mean
asked her.
jungler, high key.
Yeah, I think if she ever figured out how to work a mouse, she probably would be. But we're seeing a really even fight this time, and I like City Boys. Their pick, or their draft, I think, has a lot more aggression than they did last game. I know we talked about Tactical Feeders getting off to an early lead last game, and they certainly did. This one shouldn't really be too much of an exception, I think, though. But the Houyi-Yemoja in this duo lane is going to do a lot against this Cupid. I don't think Evan's going to get as big of a lead as he had last time. But now that I say that, he just burns OLK.
Yeah, I do think that the Charybdis will benefit once the Yemoja is out of that lane and it's more of a 1v1. Charybdis is a decent response to Houyi. You can respond well to the Ricochet if you can time your movement correctly, but it's all just a mechanics game at the end of it.
Yeah, it certainly is. Speaking of mechanics now, we see Patro trying to get some poke onto Optic and getting a decent amount. Cthulhu, again, building into the Warlock staff first. I think I talked about it last game, but not a fan of the big early damage build.
Uh-oh. Okay, falling low. Nishi falling even lower, but Evan committed for the kill and gets it on OK. It's a first blood for Tactical Feeders, and also dominating Wolf with those autos. Miss one, why don't you? Can we check Evan for aimbot after this game? Those were some nice autos making Wolf back up, and the first blood goes the way of Tactical Feeders.
And it is going to go the way of Tactical Feeders once again. Love to see it, and it is going on to Evan again. Had a really, really dominant game one, and on the Charybdis is not looking much different. And I love this new ADC build we've been seeing. I think it makes it so much more competitive with the Devos. And indeed, I think being able to stack that is something Charybdis is going to be able to do a whole lot easier than Houyi. The piercing autos are super, super slept on just how quickly and efficiently she clears that wave and going to find some massive poke.
Yeah, I think whenever we're in a Dev's Glove meta, we tend to see a bit more exciting laning from the duo lane, as the ADCs can actually hang out and farm. They don't have to back every 2 seconds because they're out of mana, out of health, and nothing to their name but a quarter of a Transcendence.
Yeah, and definitely do like the sustain coming out, and combined with Death's Toll as well, I think it allows a lot more variability in what exactly you see out of the laning phase. And looking back at builds, I know we talk a lot about Guardian starters, and this is one we're not used to. It's, I would assume the Fablest Hoops here over the Manticore spikes for Yemoja. That's not something we see too often.
Yeah, it's something that we know you like to see. I do. I'd be confident to say that there is a printout of the item logo of Fablest Hoops on your ceiling that you say goodnight to before you head to bed, and I wouldn't be shocked at all to see it.
Well, don't give away all my secrets.
I am the secret giver awayer.
Indeed you are. That is a pretty incredible sentence in of itself. Now Patroclez, he gets ganked by Dash. I don't think it matters, so he has the ult. Can he find it? Good body block from Optic.
Great body block from Optic. Fish called it in picks and bans. Try ulting around that Cthulhu, but Patro was unfazed. Looked for the 1v2 anyway. Does fall, though, to Optic Blaster on that Cthulhu. The ultimate came in clutch there to block, but looking for a response is Tactical Feeders in the mid lane, but just going to be more of a drive-by from Power. He's got bigger and better things to do at some camps.
Yeah, and at the camps he is going to go to, and now we do see in the dual lane again, this Khepri really low on mana. The Yemoja fell pretty early on, but now taking over to level 5. This is where I'd expect Charybdis and Khepri to be a little bit more careful. And talk about weird relics. Is this something new that I'm missing? Both supports went Mega Cloak.
Yeah, I feel like I'm looking at, in terms of just the relics themselves, it makes me feel like it's a console tutorial first game of Conquest kind of thing where they taught you to build meditation, even though it wasn't good. I know meditation's in a different state, just reminds me of that. But yeah, not seeing them go the shell is an interesting choice. We'll see if that matters come some of these later fights before we get to level 12 and we see that second relic come out. If not having that protection from burst damage will really matter.
Yeah, it definitely will. And now, looking across the board, it's, again, Tactical Feeders. They have 1,000 gold lead early on, and I don't even know where the heck they got it. The microfarm plays really on point here for this older side team. Now, as we do see supports start to rotate out, I think the mid 3v3 is something we talked a lot about at the beginning of the season, and something that's kind of fallen off a bit. But when we look at these combinations of gods in the mid lane, is there one you're kind of favoring as being able to have a bigger impact on this game?
I I feel confident in watching the Vulcan as we get late, but not feeling as confident for Evan's life. But that escape on Charybdis is just so good. It gives me time to answer your question. I think Vulcan has proven to be a valuable character, and like I said, they're in the picks and bans of game number 1. There's times where Vulcan can kind of be bullied out and pressured into being less effective, but I think Red Wing showed in game number 1 that he was safe on that Vulcan. Maybe not so safe as Optic Blaster as Patro hits the execute on that big body that time and gets the kill. In response, though, here's Dash, but the silence gets stopped by the stun from Patro, and that's going to be able to get him away. Insane mechanic diff there from Patro.
Yeah, Patroclez showing just why they should have banned this Achilles out in game 1. We talked about it. I don't know if City Boys talked about it, though. And again, going into the Runic Shield and Glad Shield start, I love this. And now from Optic, we're seeing a change as well. No Divine Ruin, going straight into what I would assume is the Breastplate of Valor. And I do like that change from the Cthulhu.
Yeah, we talked about the need to go tanky if you're behind, but you talked about in response to that, just going tanky in solo in general sets you up better for later in the game. If you want some damage items, pick up some potential counter damage items at the end. Optic lost his blue buff. Might lose more, but Thanatos is coming, and you can hear the sound of that ability from a mile away, and Powa heard it just in time to get away. We've got an ADC tussle by the Fury. RemarkableWolf did not get the better of that scenario, had to jump away. Strong 1v1 there for Evan. Did not lead to a kill, but something to take note of.
Yeah, and the way City Boys are playing this is really interesting. I mean, I expected the same thing out of Tactical Feeders, the aggression, but didn't really expect to see City Boys matching it, fighting there at the blue buff, the gold fury. I do like the aggression we're seeing out of them.
It looked for a second like Evan might contest for that purple, but it looks like it was for the best. He did not. He saw everybody pop up an award and went back to the safety of his own jungle. That was a close call there. I'm curious. I was just going to say I'm curious if Dash might make a play on the Vulcan here in mid, but Power was there quick, and Dash had to get away. Could not fully commit onto that Vulcan. A bit of a 3v3 potential is looming here. Looks like Nishi's trying to make a play happen, but his damage was doing the mid harpies, so no commitment just yet. Down to a 2v3 in mid now. Robin went for that red buff, now going for the support buff, so no commitment to a fight. Maybe a missed opportunity there for Tactical Feeders.
Yeah, small one indeed. And I think you said earlier, Evan getting really good vision on that ward. And look at the wards on the map from Tactical Feeders. It's like 8 minutes in. They've already got like 8 wards on the map. You absolutely love to see it. If you are a ward fan like myself, I do love teams that ward a lot. And from City Boys, I think they have 2, and it's on a buff camp and a mid camp. City Boys need to get that ward coverage up. And I think it just allows you to do so much more with rotation and aggression. I think you just feel a lot more comfortable and confident than you do without them.
Yeah, lighting up the map like a Christmas tree doesn't just get you in the holiday spirit, it keeps you alive in Smite.
Indeed it does. And Christmas spirit upon us, and I guess Remarkable feeling generous.
The Maw was hungry enough for a solo kill for Evan onto RemarkableWolf.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I don't know why Remarkable went back in there, maybe hoping to get the 9 Suns off. The 9 Suns does an obscene amount of damage, but against a Charybdis, that's just not happening. Great play there from Evan, ulting out at the right time to get the fight back.
Yeah, it's always tough to... I feel like ADC is a role where you can easily fall into the trap of feeling too invited for a 1v1, but a strong rule of thumb you can see the players pick up on normally fairly quickly is if you're being invited for the 1v1, your opponent may have a trick up their sleeve, so a tough root of luck there for RemarkableWolf, but not too far behind yet. Things are certainly not looking anywhere near as bad as they were at 10 minutes in game number 1.
Yeah, they're definitely not, and I do like to see that from City Boys. And I think a lot of times, I know we talked about it a little bit in Game 1, but mentals play such a big part, whether you get off to an early deficit or you get killed a couple of times. And getting the mental strength to bounce back here in the Game 2 is exactly what City Boys need. And I think we both talked, we like their draft better, maybe if we still like Tactical Feeders a bit more. setting themselves up for success is key, and that is a Fabulous Hoop on Yemoja. I really like that build path for OLK, I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, we know. Don't you worry, but yeah, I do as well. I think it does set up the Yemoja very cleanly for early to mid here. Wolf's gonna go ahead and drop an ult on that minion wave, trying to create some time to play a little bit safer, maybe a bit more passive in the dual lane. I'm surprised we didn't see Wolf use that as an opportunity to either sneak that XP camp or maybe play it a bit more safely after that ultimate, especially with the potential gank follow-up. Maybe a bit of a miscommunication there.
Yeah, maybe a tiny bit of miscommunication, but teams are definitely prone to that at times. I think we did see, even with the successful win they got last game, Tactical Feeders had a few bouts of miscommunication. So I guess every team's allowed to have it. Is now Nishi trying to get aggressive. Good CC from the mid lane, though, making sure they keep their Scorpion.
Getting bounced back and forth. It's like ping pong in Forrest Gump. Nishi had nowhere to go but back and forth. Wolf, though, now jumps down onto Evan. Evan uses the purification beads on the ricochet and gets yet another solo kill in the duo lane.
Quickly becoming the SDL catchphrase, but indeed, Evan finds his third kill of this game. I think at least a second solo kill. Now Thanatos to the sky, crashing down. Can POWAAAAAHHHH get away? Yes, he can.
With the help of the Khepri ultimate that Nishi knew he was safe to use after the Thanatos came down, Patro looks for some aggression underneath the tower, gonna get everybody to back away just at the sight of Patro. A lot of respect being shown to that Achilles.
Yeah, and I think rightly so after game one. But to note, this game, Achilles not off to the same, 4-level lead at 15 minutes he was last time. So I think Optic needs some recognition, doing a lot better, keeping that enemy solo lane in check this time. And definitely his teammates going to be thankful for it, because now City Boys don't have to be scared in their own jungle. Always a win. But now, Tactical Feeders, last game we saw them get aggressive onto the Pyromancer and the Scorpions around the 15-minute mark. Without a lead from last time, though, I'll be interested to see if they try to keep the pacing similar, or maybe they try to find different opportunities within this game.
Yeah, even if you're not in the lead, it's possible to get map control when you're even and when you're behind. We're seeing that now. Maybe sneaky Gold Fury, but there is vision from City Boys. Evan trying to look for the steal, set up very pretty. Here's the Mach, gonna pick off Yemoja. Evan gets the kill onto OLK. City Boys does get the Gold Fury, but Tactical Feeders get the Pyromancer in response. Well done by Evan, and getting away with his life.
Yeah, and I mean, lucky getting away with the life. I don't know why he canceled out of the second. I'm just surprised he canceled out the second usage of the Maw. Might have been able to steal, get those two off of him, but falls out of it and immediately gets Hou-Yi ulted. A little bit questionable, but regardless, gets a kill and gets away with his life. It's a good value from the ADC. Maybe he does know what he's doing better than I do.
Yeah, that's always the most fun part of being a caster, is you get to criticize and criticize and criticize, but you are not the one out there playing. Wolf tries to cause some misdirection and break some ankles. Will it be enough, though? Pow is hot on the case. There's the purification beats, but Khepri has 2 CC abilities left. Does miss 1, though, but looks like Wolf decided to throw in the towel. Need to get back to base a little bit quicker, and is going to find a way of doing that in dying in the duo lane.
Yeah, some people might not like the move of just standing there, but let's face it, no beads, no ult. He was going absolutely nowhere. Facing that Khepri, his Earthshaker ult, not even close to landing. I think the first miss we've seen from Red Wings in over 45 minutes of gameplay.
Yeah, that was tough, but here's the execute. It's good. It's a solo kill for Patroclez on the Optic Blaster. But the question becomes, what will Tactical Feeders do in response to this 5-on-4? They took a lot of advantage of that last game. This time, not so much, though, as there's a fight in mid lane. It's not looking great for Feeders. Thanatos up into the sky, falls down. Nishi was not in execute range. They will find the kill anyway, but a bit of a tough turn of events there for City Boys. The fight was looking good to start, looking less good now. The stun hits on Slim, quite a bit of damage. Patro's here, follows it up, gets 1, almost make it 2. Evan gets the final hit. Evan's on a rampage, and Tactical Feeders taking advantage of every situation they can. Now up 9-2, and the gold lead is falling.
Great fight by Tactical Feeders in mid, and I love the ult coming out of the Khepri to save the teammate, buying enough time for the rest of his team to rotate over. Small play from Nishi, but sacrificing himself and buying time leads to the, oh gosh, what was that? A double kill. I think triple was onto Optic earlier. And now Tactical Feeders, they get a tier 2 in mid, they get a blue invade. I thought they were going to go marching over to Scorpion, but I do like the call for the mid tier 2. That is going to be huge.
You know, a mechanic I liked a lot that Nishi did was, I feel like ulting not himself to save himself, even though he was falling low and quickly, and having the confidence to not stress about dying to the Thanatos was enough to kind of throw off the pathing there, because the Thanatos didn't go for the person ulted. He went down onto the Khepri, and it wasn't as effective as it might have been. That being said, though, Dash looking to make a play happen, gonna pay for it as everybody was healthy. Potentially another miscommunication, or just trying to make something happen that was not available due to the abilities and the relics that were up for Tactical Feeders. Thanatos ultimately is wasted.
Yeah, it is wasted. Luckily, it does have a pretty short cooldown, and no worse off is Dashi. Patro has heal. Oh, not an execute range, though. Miscalculated.
Miscalculated indeed, but what is calculated is POWAAAAAHHHH gonna find the kill onto Dash, or maybe not. There's the blink from Nishi. You can always count on a Khepri to set you up pretty. POWAAAAAHHH gets a kill onto Dash, and now we've got blood in mid lane. Evan trying to make something happen, and it does hit, just doesn't do as much damage as needed to follow up further. No need to chase into a Phoenix at 17 minutes. But you got your own things to worry about, including RemarkableWolf getting another split push off in the dual lane.
Yeah, and
RemarkableWolf
is gonna get, oh, and Optic falls. The third time in the set. Doesn't feel like he's fallen that much, especially compared to last game. I think Optic having a much better time. Tell you who isn't having a good time, this Fire Giant, it's gonna fall quick from Tactical Feeders.
Yeah, that's a great call. The only person who could have even attempted to contest is the Yamoja. Might get, oh, almost got there in time. Tactical Feeders got knocked up a little bit. I won't just critique the City Boys. Maybe hit up jungle practice and memorize the pattern there from the Fire Giant. Got knocked up quite a bit. Almost gave the Yamoja enough time to try to steal it.
Almost indeed, but not quite. The Emojo won't get that one off as Tactical Feeders get the Fire Giant around their belt. I know it's something we all talk a lot about. I probably harp on too much, but doing something with this Fire Giant, as we see Tactical Feeders, they drop back to get camps. That's all fine, but I do want to see them make a lot of value out of this. The tier 1 is low. RemarkableWolf is even lower if Patro can find this kill.
There's the beads, there's the sun. Execute for some damage, and to keep up on Wolf. Slim's trying to come help just to get Patro off of Wolf, and Patro will run to the sun itself to take out this whole Yi, because they were setting up the Oni Fury. Great play there from Tactical Feeders to spread out not only the kill, but sneak the Fury.
Yeah, really good play there by the Feeders. And now we see Patro trying to invade off these Trebuchet, and they are going to get a Treb. And we all know, just like me in the Fabulous Hoops, I like the Trebuchet too. It's pretty solid, and we are going to see it in the right lane. That's a pretty good one. I think that's the lane they need to attack, but instead grouping up on this left tier 2, they're going to get it no problem. City Boy is going to be in a horrible spot as Robin in the mid lane trying to 1v2. As Slim's at half health, POWAAAAAHHH feeling good this game.
POWAAAAAAHHH feeling very good, gets the kill onto Slim, and Dash can try to get revenge, but no matter how many relics you use, it won't stop the double kill and the rampage from POWAAAAAHHH. Now Nishi gets the pull onto RemarkableWolf. He falls so fast he couldn't even surrender that time. Cthulhu up into his ultimate to try to slow things down at the Phoenix, but the left Phoenix is falling to Evan without contest. Now they turn their attention to the mid lane Phoenix, pressuring them out a bit, but Patro's here to cause some havoc. Mid Phoenix is gonna fall. OLK will be right behind it. Execute hits. Rampage for Patro. Earthshaker does hit. Not enough for the execute. Patro goes into the fountain and gets shut down gold for Optic Blaster to buy a Ward Chalice here at the end for some added flair and some stat padding. But with this Titan down to about a quarter health and everybody putting in numbers and Tactical Feeders, I don't quite think this will be enough to defend. Ultimate, though, from Dash is no good to stop things. That might be the opening Tactical Feeders need. RemarkableWolf, is that enough time to respawn? Suns come out, pull from Nishi. Nishi's cut off. I thought this game was over, but City Boys push them back out. POWAAAAAHHH, though, gets the kill on RemarkableWolf. Dash is so low, he's got it back. Optic Blaster not doing so healthy himself. Tactical Feeders is going to back up reset, look to heal up a bit from this Fire Giant, and re-engage at a later date. City Boys were able to hold. I thought it was game there.
Yeah, and we saw this in game 1, another time where we thought tactical feeders could have ended, and they just didn't. Maybe wanting to play safe, not give too much away. I don't think, even if you don't win the game there, which I think they do, with Evan still being full health there, standing in that circle as Charybdis, you don't really give too much up off of it. The Fire Giant isn't up for about another minute and a half, give or take. So, would have liked to see some aggression there, but Tactical Feeder's still very much in the forefoot. With that Titan below half health, they can honestly walk right in. I don't think they need to go for this FG.
Yeah, the FG would probably just be a waste of time. It would give the Titan time to heal, the Phoenix's time to respawn, time for them to push the minions out, that being the City Boys. They're going to pick up the Pyromancer just kind of on their way, sort of like when you're heading home and you stop to grab some more water if you're out, that kind of thing. Nothing too crazy. Then they're probably going to group up, run it down mid, like you said, and end this game. Unless something crazy happens and there's some type of deicide, I can't see City Boys surviving this siege.
Yeah, I can't either, I think, realistically, but, you know, there's always a chance. Optic Blaster's ult is so impactful, so is the Thanatos ult, but it's not going to be on the table for this one. Tactical Feeder's walking it down. It should be game over here, but they're just going for towers still.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the call here is, maybe just to make sure they have plenty of time to get that Titan. Patro does get the kill onto Optic. The tier 2 tower will be executed. It falls. Incredible reset there from Patro to execute that tower. They're going to head to Phoenix. Titan will not be far behind it. They probably could run all the way to the Titan. Now, Patro does get some good aggression onto OLK, which should be enough to give Tactical Feeders time to drop that Titan. Gonna try to cut them off from the fountain. Nobody can contest this. The Titan falls. Tactical Feeders takes game 2, and they take the set.
Yeah, and I mean, there's no way to look at it there. Tactical Feeders absolutely steamrolled. They played pretty much perfect Smite. Admittedly, the end calls were questionable, but I think like we remarked on the desk earlier, they got a lot of new players. It's going to be their first time playing together. It's something we expected, so I don't think it's too much to worry about. And I think on the flip side, City Boys, all things considered, I don't think they played a bad game at all. Just a little bit outmatched in this one.
Yeah, I have to agree. There's always things to improve. I said that in game 1 as well, but there is a lot of homework to be done for City Boys. But Tactical Feeders, they have something they can work with here. I think if I'm Tactical Feeders, I'm looking at this game and saying we've got something that's working here. Let's, instead of mixing up players, mixing up roles, let's just improve on what we got. Maybe dedicate shot callers. Let's commit to plays. If I'm then, I'm just working on strategy from here on out, because you have the mechanics, you have the teamwork, you've got the players, you have the god pools, you got everything you need. Now you just need the focus and the strategy.
Yeah, and on the flip side, when we look at things City Boys need to improve, honestly, I think the team comps could afford to be a little bit better. I don't think they were, or definitely not, I guess, outright bad, but maybe just not enough cohesion as we would have liked. They looked a little lost in some of those fights and never really got a solid 5v5. I feel like, regardless from which team it was, there was always, like, one person missing from every fight.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, definitely unfortunate to see, but they have a lot I think they can turn around going into next week. And then when we look at the flip side, Tactical Feeders should do really good next week. I'm very excited to see what they're going to be able to do.
Yeah, it has been seldom I've been excited to see a team really come together and now just get to see what they do going forward. But that's how I feel right now about Tactical Feeders. And with that, we're going to leave you here. Keep your eyes on Tactical Feeders and look for the improvements from City Boys going forward. I have been Anthony Mellum. He was KingFsher. We had iNooblet on production. We are the Smite Draft League. Get signed up, play, get subscribed, watch. We'll see you next time.